This clip is brought to you by SaveWithConrad.com.
Let's talk about Dick's release for fighting. The Dicks, Tank Tolland and
Dicks
Chad
can get
Wicks.
released. Dicks were fighting.
If the Dicks fight, they're getting cut.
Ooh.
Just saying.
That's pretty fucking harsh. That's the Lorena Bobbitt shit.
Oh, no, different kind. This is Tank Tolland and, or Tolland and Chad Wicks. They're going to be, no longer pals. I guess they had a fight between them, and the result of that was they're cut. Apparently Chad was a subject of, constant hazing and ribbing from a number of the veterans, including allegedly JBL, Chris Benoit, and The Undertaker. Apparently he was an easy target, and his reactions brought it to even more ribbing. And you've often talked about here on the show, don't sell it, right? Like if JR got ribbed and he quote unquote sold it, meaning he acknowledged the rib and, you know, he really was, showing how stressful it was or how annoyed he was or whatever, or how put out he was. It just made everybody want to do it more, right?
Well, yeah, that's the satisfaction of it.
Yeah.
So if you don't sell, then that's no fun. But I don't, look at, good Lord, I think that the hazing and the culture of just even 10 years ago, much less, 15 years ago, much less 30 years ago, the times change.
Yeah.
Good Lord, when you go back and think about what locker rooms were like in the 1970s, a little bit different than what they are in 2021, much less in 2006, much less in 1995.
The report from the Torch says, quote, "The rivers in the locker room were like sharks. They smell blood," said one WWE locker room source. "It's a pack mentality. Chad handled the ribbing poorly, and his complaining and reactions to it made Tank Tolland, aka James Dick, feel like he was putting their jobs in jeopardy. It led to a fight between them, during which Tolland punched Wicks. While there was a small chance Tolland might have been spared, even if Wicks were released, the fight put WWE management in a tough spot because they couldn't justify firing the guy who got punched and not the wrestler who did the punching." What do you remember about the Dicks no longer being in WWE?
Well, I think that they just kind of brought it on themselves from the standpoint of, again, you can't be fighting with each other. And I think there was a level of immaturity on every side in this regard, because I don't know that Chad really was very young, and I just don't know that he was very naive, and I don't know that he was ready to be in that environment. I don't know he's mature enough to be in that environment. I think Tank was a lot more mature and just frustrated, but I don't know that either was going to be a megastar by any stretch of the imagination. They both had unique looks, and unfortunately it didn't work out.
No, it didn't. Mark Henry and Daivari come out to the ring, and the crowd didn't really respond to either guy's promo. Henry's calling out the Undertaker for a confrontation. Undertaker's full ring entrance takes place. And I guess you really need to get that on NBC because it's quite a spectacle. They get to a slugfest right away, and Taker gets a big early flurry, and then Henry's fighting back. They're brawling at ringside. Taker sends Mark into the ring steps and then kicks him into the crowd. And then he goes after Daivari, gives him a choke slam and a tombstone into a casket at ringside. This is done to really cement and set up WrestleMania, of course, which will be between Undertaker and Mark Henry. Was there ever any consideration to having Mark Henry be the guy to end the streak, do you think?
Yeah, there definitely was. It was talked about, and in hindsight, Mark early on had probably caught on a little earlier, and Mark caught on, later in his career and was coming into his own during this time. Mark might have been a great guy to beat the streak.
What about Daivari here? I don't think we talk about him enough.
I don't think Daivari should have been one to beat the streak.
I agree. Daivari, though, I feel like he's a bit of an unsung hero of sorts, because it feels like if you need to get some heat on a guy, whether it was Kurt Angle earlier in this same year or here with Mark Henry. Just sprinkle a little Daivari on there, and boy, the fans are going to find a way to hate him somehow.
Yeah. And sign of the times more than anything. Daivari knew how to get heat.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.